All right. Shalom, everybody. Shalom. Can everybody hear me? All righty. Shalom, 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 everybody. This is Deacon Kahleial with the King James Bible University and the House of the Lost Sheep of Israel out of Shawnee, Kansas. And today's teaching is titled The Poison of Comparisons. So, my brothers and sisters, when we start comparing ourselves against others, envy can set in, and we begin to diminish the value of what we have been given. This can bring inward bitterness and lack of contentment with what we have, and we may begin to desire what another has in an attempt to satisfy what we desire. Let me say that again. And we may begin to desire what another has and seek to attempt to satisfy that desire. But this is fleshly lust and vanity. So we're looking at another aspect of envy and emulation. When one begins to compare themselves against another person and starts coveting what another has, lacking contentment in what was given to them. So when we compare ourselves against other people, either good or bad, we're bringing our own judgment into the equation, basing things on how we see them, and this is silliness. Someone can either make a mistake or excel at something, yet when we start to compare ourselves against them, we begin to form vain understandings in our own minds, and this is the problem. See, we should be seeking the benefit of towards our brothers and sisters, seeking to help them, seeking to aid them in their journeys based on the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that we receive from Jehovah. But when we begin to compare ourselves against the brothers and sisters, instead of helping the body, we begin to attack the body. And this is where issues start to kick in, because instead of seeking the good, we then start seeking a competition. We start to then form rivalries in our mind based on who we think we are and who we think they are. Trying to sit there and think that we have the capacity to do what? Dictate what's going on with other people and how things should be based on what we want. And that doesn't make any sense to do that. So we're going to look at that word against real quick. Just the word against. When we compare against somebody else. Let me see. Let me unfreeze this real quick. So right here, when we look at that, when we're comparing against somebody else, so we see it's still compared, but we see this opposition is here. It's opposed to someone else. So when we compare ourselves against a brother or a sister or anybody, we're putting ourselves in a position of opposition, being contrary to them, being opposed to them. Why? Because now we're trying to sit there and measure ourselves against a person instead of making sure that we're in alignment with the word of God. And these are where problems start to really kick in. So we get into what? Competitive behaviors with them. One could begin to then what? Try to outperform another person or try to put themselves on a level above another man based on accolades and achievements and things of this like. But all this is vanity and can break up the unity of the brethren. Why? Because through that, now we'll start trying to talk about other people and try to belittle people and do all these other things based on what? Once again, our own vain opinion, lacking the contentment of what we have received, lacking the contentment on the things that we have, lacking contentment on these things. And it's really all that is showing is that we're ungrateful and we're unthankful. That's what that shows. We're not appreciative of anything that Jehovah has done for us when we're sitting there playing that game of comparisons and showing envy and emulation towards others. And that's where things get really dangerous. So we're going to get into this teaching and we're going to see some examples of what's being stated and then get a clear understanding of it, and then we're going to move forward. So we're going to start with 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 4 through 31, but we're going to skip verse 13. So we see here, once again, we here at this place, which reads, Now there are diversities of gifts, but the same Spirit. And there are differences of administrations, but the same Lord, the same Creator. And there are diversities of operations, but it is the same God which worketh all in all. But the manifestation of the Spirit is given to every man to profit withal. For to one is given by the Spirit the word of wisdom. This is a gift that somebody can have. This could be given to someone. To another, the word of knowledge by the same Spirit. To another, faith by the same Spirit. To another, the gifts of healing by the same Spirit. To another, the working of miracles. To another, prophecy. To another, discerning of spirits. To another, diverse kinds of tongues. To another, the interpretation of tongues. But all these worketh that one and the self same Spirit, dividing to every man severally as he will. So understanding that what these gifts are given by the Spirit. So this is something that Jehovah is going to be given. So with that clearly being said, it should never be a thing where we envy somebody based on a gift that they have because that's given by Jehovah. So it's not that we have a problem with the person. We have to look at who we're actually showing that towards, because that person is simply putting in the work that they need to put in, and Jehovah is giving it based on that person's several ability, which we'll see in a minute. For as the body is one and have many members, and all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. For the body is not one member, but many. Providing the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? See, these are statements that can't be made. The foot is going to be the foot. The foot has a role, a purpose, and a position that it has in the body. So I'm going to ask a quick question. Does it make any sense for the foot to then turn around and try to compare itself to the hand and say, I can do this and you can't? Does that make any sense to that, for that to even happen? Exactly the point. Why? The foot is unique with its own purpose, its own role, and its own responsibility in which it has in the body. So it makes no sense for the foot to put itself in that position to try to say anything like that. Same for any other part of the body. Why? Because they all have their own roles and their own purposes. So right here, and if the ear shall say, because I'm not the eye, I am not of the body. Is it therefore not of the body? Can't say that. If the whole body were an eye, where were the hearing? Because you need the ear. If the whole were hearing, where were the smelling? Because you need the nose. But now have God set the members, every one of them in the body, as it hath pleased him. And if they were all one member, where were the body? But now are they many members, yet but one body. So it shows that unity when the whole body is together. It's many members, but it's still one. It's still unified. It's still together in one operation. But it's many different facets in which it works. It has many different pieces to it, but they all work harmoniously together. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee. It can't happen. Nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. It doesn't work like that. Why? The head has a purpose, the feet have a purpose, the fingers have a purpose, the elbow got a purpose, the joint got a purpose, the knee got a purpose, the ankle got a purpose, the toe got a purpose, the toenail got a purpose. All that got a purpose. The eyelashes, they got a purpose. They have all these parts of this body have a purpose in which they're there. So they all need to be able to operate and work within the office that they have, within the position that they have, being members of the same body. Because the body should seek to benefit itself, it benefit one another, to help itself. But when we're being against the body, now it's showing that we're being like this foreign substance. We're being like this intruder. Why? Because now, instead of benefiting the body as we should, seeking to help our brothers and sisters, we then become like a virus that enters in through the body. Now we start trying to modify and change things that we shouldn't be doing. And this becomes a serious issue because the position that we're in, we should be operating in it. But then once we start to try to do our own thing, it's like cancer. And these are where a lot of problems come into play, which we're going to see as we go through. Let me see where I was at. Let me see. But I'm going to start back at 20. But now are they many members, yet but one body. And the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. So he's letting us know clear as day. All the members of the body that's a part of the body, they're necessary, whether they be feeble or not. And those members of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor. And our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. For our comely parts have no need. Why? They'll be able to do exactly what it is they need to do. They just rolling. But God have tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to the part which lacked, that there should be no schism, so no separation, no division in the body, but that the members should have the same care one for another, which is exactly the point. Having that same care one for another, despite the position that anybody has in the body. Whether a person might do one thing, a person might have a responsibility of just sending emails, making sure communication flows well. And that's all they do. But that's necessary. A person might just deal with, I don't know, they might deal with working with one person, and because this one person can understand them very well. There's nothing wrong with that. Why? Because they're serving the purpose that they have in the body. They're being that help towards the body. Why? Because you never know. Those emails that need to be sent, it might be just one email that need to go out to where it actually benefits everything as a whole. And that one piece, that one part of the body had to do that for everything to run smooth. It doesn't matter if that person that's helping just that one specific person. That one specific person could then become something extremely strong that was needed later down the line. We don't know these things, but what we do know is it's not for any of us to tear down other parts of the body, being self-righteous, comparing ourselves, being the hand. Now we're going to compare ourselves to the foot, and now we think, nah, I don't need that. We can't do that. Because when we start to do this, it's showing self-righteousness is then showing emulation. Because when we compare ourselves against another, now we believe that we can dictate and determine their purpose that they have being here. And we not the Most High. We can't do that. That whatever that person is here for is whatever they here for. All we need to be doing as members of the body is supporting one another as we see. But that the members should have the same care one for another, showing we need to be unified together in Jehovah. That's what we should be doing. And whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. Sometimes you hear we only as strong as our weakest link, or whatever. I mean, that's what you hear people say. But the whole thing is, what do you do at that point? You strengthen that. You help that. You encourage that. It's just as simple as that. But if that person want to continue to do their own thing, they going to do themselves into where they'll be removed. Why? Can't have no cancer there. So regardless of what position somebody's in, we have to make sure we doing what we supposed to be doing and doing stuff for the intent and for the benefit of the brethren and the brothers and the sisters. That's a part of the body. Why? Because that's what we should be doing. But when we compare ourselves against, we're going to see what that looks like here in a second. Because it gets serious really fast, and it comes with a lot of consequences when we have a mindset of competition. So we see here that, and whether one member suffer, all the members suffer with it. That becomes dangerous. Or one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Why? Because once again, if we all have the same care for another, showing this true love for one another, then when one is honored or one is able to be strengthened or whatever the case might be, this benefits everybody. It benefits everybody. Why? Because we should all be seeking to help one another in love. That's what we should be doing. But the thing about it is, and the question that we have to ask is, do we do this? Or do we seek other things? Do we look at other people and want to compare ourselves to them and try to rank ourselves against them? Oh yeah, they can do this, but I can do this. Yeah, they do that, but you know what I'm saying? I could do this a little bit better. I know that they can do it, but I can do that thing that they did a bit better. Do we get into a mindset where we starting to compare ourselves against them as if they are in opposition to us. These are the things that happen because, quite honestly, I've done that same thing where I've looked at what somebody else was doing because I had a own vain opinion of them, and I was sitting there like, man, they doing this, they do. Now I'm starting to get into this mindset where I'm being against somebody that's in the body, based on what? My own vain opinion, my own vain thoughts that's deceiving me, not recognizing that 100% I'm in the wrong for doing that. Why? Because it should never be a thing to where I'm looking at somebody with an evil suspicion, thinking that they're doing this or thinking that they're doing that, and then I start thinking I'm better than them based on whatever I think. That's actually 100% stupid. I'm just being straight up. But we gonna look. Now are now ye are the body of Christ, and members in particular. And God hath set some in the church, this body, first apostles, secondarily prophets, thirdly teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healing, helps. You got helps in the body. Governments, diversities of tongues. Are all apostles? Are all prophets? Are all teachers? Are all workers of miracles? Have all the gifts of healing? Do all speak with tongues? Do all interpret? But covet earnestly the best gifts. And yet I show unto you a more excellent way. But the thing about it is, we can want gifts. That's fine. We can want those spiritual gifts. But the thing about it is, what's clear is this. Follow after charity, showing that benevolence, showing this goodwill. So this charity is showing that us wanting those spiritual gifts, we should desire to serve and help God's people with these gifts. Not sitting there having them to do our own selfish things with them, thinking we going to profit off of them, profit from people or do anything like that. We follow after charity, seeking to have these gifts, but for the right intentions and reasons. Okay, if I want these gifts, that means I should be using these gifts to help me work in the field. That's what I should want the gifts for. I should want these gifts to help me be able to do what it is that I need to do. It to help the brothers and the sisters, to help God's people. That's what I should want the gifts for. Not so that I can make a dollar, not so that I can sit there and, you know what I'm saying, one up somebody. Oh yeah, I know he could do this, but I could do that right here. He can't discern that spirit. That don't make no sense. You see how that came out of my mouth? That sounded stupid. Exactly the point. That don't even make no sense. Because it don't even sound right to say that. Oh yeah, man, I healed her. See, look, he can't heal like me. That's weird. That genuinely doesn't make any sense. But when we start to compare ourselves, now we start to get into stuff like, oh, I get more likes than this person. I get more amens than this person. I get more views than this person. We start getting into stupid stuff like this. Have I sat there and had that in my mind? Yeah. Have I sat there and looked for certain things I shouldn't be looking for? Oh, they didn't say amen in that. Have I sat there and thought about something like that? Yeah, I've thought about something like that. Well, I'm just be 100% real. I'm not even going to sit here and play with nothing. I'm going to keep it 100% straight up on what has crossed my mind. It's the reality of it. So, with the understanding of what needs to be happening, follow after charity and desire spiritual gifts. Why? Because once we understand what's happening, we should be doing what's right. Once we understand what's happening, we should be putting in the work. Once we understand what's happening, the whole point and intention is that goodwill in doing what? Serving Jehovah. That's it. So one could be putting in the work, but we can't have those other things floating around in the back of our head. So I could be sitting there putting in the work and doing all that. Have I had those things floating around in the back of my mind? Oh yeah, I got to make sure I do this. I got to make sure I do this. Cool. Make sure you do it. When the teaching go up, don't worry about who's watching it. When the teaching go up, don't worry about who is saying what. When the teaching go up, don't look for validation from people. But have I done that? Yeah. Done it. So it's just being honest. Straight up. I know that's something that might be shocking, but this is what the issues are. These are the problems that people have. But Can we get rid of these issues? Yes. Yes, you can. And we have to have faith in Jehovah to be renewed in the spirit of our mind, to not think like that, to not move like that, because we need to be desirous of Him. So when we looking, we're going to go right here to Matthew real quick. Matthew 25. Looking at these gifts, right? You see here. Matthew 25, 14 to 15. For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents. We see this. To another 2, and to another 1. To every man according to his several ability. And straightway took his journey. So everyone has been given exactly what they need to put in the work in whatever position they're in. Remember the parable of the talents. Those that received their talents ended up getting more. And in the end, they were given more talents than at the first. If we focus on what's required of us and put in the work to get closer and closer to Jehovah, through the word, we can increase. But when you compare yourself against somebody else, trying to be like somebody else, you competing with somebody in your mind based on the type of recognition or the type of approval that they get, you can't get those gifts because now you're trying to get these gifts for the wrong reason. So therefore, you become stagnant. Therefore, you start to try to do stuff your own way. Therefore, you start to push things a roundabout way, trying to get engagement that you shouldn't be looking for. So you can't increase. You can't grow that way because you choking yourself. These are the issues that come into play. Because when we sit there and we trying to sit there and compete with somebody else's gift, you're not competing with the person, you competing with the one that gave them that gift. And that's actually insane. Because the one that gave them the gift is they working for them. That's their focus. That's why they have the gift. But when you sit there and you trying to compete with somebody based on what they're doing, based on what they're capable of, based on the abilities that they have, you actually showing you have an issue with the one that gave them the gift in the first place. That's where the issues come in. This is what I was doing. I'm just being upfront. Why? I put in work. Why don't nobody like me? Why do you care about that? Well, I do this. How come people treat me like that? Why are you worried about that? Oh, well, I feel like, what? But don't nobody like me. Why? How come? Why are you worried about that? You was made the way that you was made for a reason. All you should be worried about is putting in the work. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to dislike you. It doesn't matter. When you thinking like that, you thinking carnal. When you thinking like that, you looking at vainglory. When you thinking like that, you looking at everything the wrong way and doing stuff for the wrong reasons. That's showing your heart ain't right. Talking about Kahleial. Talking about Kahleial. This is what he was doing. It doesn't matter how talented or gifted we are in the field that we're in. Once we start to compare ourselves to other people and compare ourselves against others, it becomes a poison. And the very gifts that you have can be stunted. It stunts your growth. It prevents you from actually moving forward. Why? Because you're not operating the way you're supposed to be. And them same gifts that you have, you can easily lose them. So it's not a game when we do these types of things. But will we acknowledge these types of things when they happen? Do we acknowledge them or do we just continue to do it? If you can acknowledge it, then you can get help. If you don't, you can't be helped. That's Jeremiah 3:13. Um, Let me do that real quick. That since I'm speaking on that. Jeremiah 3:13. Only acknowledge thine iniquity, that thou hast transgressed against the Spirit of God thy guide, and hast scattered thy ways to the strangers under every green tree, and ye have not obeyed my voice, saith the Spirit of God. Why? Because we shouldn't be seeking any of that stuff. It should simply be to just do the work. So these things are clear. So when we compare ourselves against someone else, we end up trying to see if what we have is better or worse. And this determination is made with our own vain opinion, and we can deceive ourselves like that. So we're going to take a look at of an example of those that have diverse responsibilities. Like when people have diverse responsibilities within the body, right? So we're going to look at Exodus 18 real quick. Doing stuff like that is so shady. Like, I'm just being straight up, and I'm just being honest. Doing that type of stuff is extremely shady. It just is. I'm just looking at it just straight up for what it is, shadiness. But we see here, hearken now. So we looking at an example, right? We looking at an example of what this look like, right? An example of those that have these diverse responsibilities on these different levels. And we're going to see what's going on here. It says, hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. We see this, the work that must be done clearly, right? Moreover, let me read this again. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear, desire God, men of truth. Here it go, hating covetousness. So they can't have envy there. That shouldn't be there. They need to hate covetousness. That should be something that they actually hate. But we're gonna keep reading. And place such over them to be rulers of thousands, and rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. We see this. We see this here. And let them teach the people at all seasons. And it shall be that every great matter they shall bring unto thee, but every small matter they shall judge. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. So we see, bear the burden with thee. This is a support. This is showing support to the body as a whole. We see these different positions. They're putting in this work, but there's different levels in which the work is being put in at, based on every man's several ability. So shall it be easier for thyself, and they shall bear the burden with thee. If providing thou shalt do this thing, and God command thee so, then thou shalt be able to endure, and all this people shall also go to their place in peace. So Moses hearkened unto the voice of his father-in-law, and did all that he had said. And Moses chose able men out of all Israel, and made them. These are able men, so they're capable of what the job is. Out of all Israel, and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And they judged the people at all seasons. The hard causes they brought unto Moses, but every small matter they judged themselves. So these people wasn't being in the position of the Most High or anything like that. These people was in positions of spiritual leadership, helping the body, providing that support. The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that they was given, they gave it to the body. So the one that's over the whole situation, no matter what, is Jehovah. These rulers are putting in a work to just support the body. That's all that's happening in this situation. So we see this, right? So these rulers of thousands, of hundreds, of fifties, and of tens, these men are to put in work according, once again, to their several ability, but through people comparing themselves to others, we can see poison kick in. The ruler of tens, if he began to compare himself against the ruler of thousands, he might begin to diminish the significance of the responsibilities that he has. All these rulers have a role that is beneficial to the body as a whole, so regardless of the position, they all have equal importance to the body, no matter what. The level of responsibility is due to them not being given something that they cannot handle. They're not going to be put in a position they can't handle. They're going to be put in a position that they can handle. It doesn't matter. So all they have to do is work within their ability and work on their weaknesses. So the strengths that they have, yeah, they have that strength, they have that ability, but where they're weak, they work on where their weaknesses is. They work on where they messing up at. They working on where they problems are. But they use that gift, that talent that was given to them to work within that position that they're in. That's all they had to do. That's it. If the ruler of 10 tried to do the same thing as the ruler of the thousands without the proper training, understanding, and talent, they could be a liability to the body as a whole. And this can bring detrimental effect because now they're being self-willed and not operating in their appointed role. These will bring themselves out of alignment with Jehovah through envy, jealousy, and emulation. If one tries to compare themselves against another in a similar role or position, it can lead to one becoming prideful and covetous. Real life example, I tried to do that to somebody here. I tried to compare myself to one of my brothers. I tried to do that, and I failed. And everybody saw it. I did it. I sat there and did this. This is literally what I did. Why? I'm sitting there thinking I'm a certain way in my mind. Oh, I should be able to do this. Okay, I should be able to. I should be able to do this certain type of way. You know, I can do that. Why am I thinking like that? Because the moment we compare ourselves against somebody else, as seen in this thumbnail right here, this is what actually happens. We see we supposed to be examining ourselves and working on ourselves. Then once we begin to do what? Compare ourselves against people, we then walk away from that, and now we try to be somebody that we're not. We walk away from working on ourselves, and now we try to become somebody or something that we're not. This is what happens. We walk away from the mirror. We walk away from self-examination. We walk away from putting in that work to make sure we doing what we supposed to be doing, and we try to become somebody else. We try to become what somebody else is doing. We try to do the work that they doing, and we don't have that gift that they have. The craziest part about it is this. You can have the same gift as somebody else, but can you work it identically the way that they will work it? You still can't do that. Why? They're made unique. One person could have a gift of healing. Another person could have the gift of healing. But because those people are unique creations, guess what? They're only going to work that gift of healing according to the ability that they have. Because they're both unique individuals anyways. You could teach similar to somebody all day, but the delivery is still going to be different because you're two different people. It don't matter. So there's never going to be another Elder Johnson. There's never going to be another Elder Jenkins. There's never going to be another Elder Carlos, Elder Martin, Elder T, Elder Fields, Elder Lynn. It ain't going to ever be another one of those. Ain't going to ever be another one, another Deacon DeForest, Deacon Jonathan, Deacon, bro, that's a lot of names. But y'all know what I'm trying to say. I'm about to sit here because I literally, my brain started spacing out. But you get my point. It ain't gonna be another nobody. It's only one of. It's only one. It's only one. Everybody. That's the whole point. But it ain't gonna be another brother so and so. It ain't gonna be another sister so and so. So even if somebody had the same identical talent, the same identical gift, the same identical stuff, you can't be them. You have the ability that you have, and you work it according to how you work it because that's how you was made. But when you try to be somebody else, you going away from Jehovah's design that he has for your own life, literally, because you trying to live somebody else's life. You can't even do that. This is what I tried to do. Oh, I could be like him. How come he get more? Why everybody ask him questions? Why don't they? I want to help. Why don't they ask me questions? Don't nobody talk to me. Why don't they ask me questions? I want to help. I want to help. That's still being competitive. Dang, dang. Do he get more likes because he explained it better? Let me explain stuff a bit more. Maybe that'll make it to where people start getting it. Maybe they don't understand what I'm saying because why are you competing? This the type of stuff I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. Started to try to become like somebody else. And that's not my position. And then when people get moved around, I start feeling bitter. Well, I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and I do this, and he do. Why? Why am I comparing? Why am I comparing for? So then that poison starts to sink in. And once that poison starts to sink in, you can end up dying. How? Because now you can become bitter to the point where you are unable to do your job. You become resentful. Why? You start comparing yourself to somebody else. Now you start to resent the person that gave them the position. You start to resent the person that, or you start resenting all that. You start to feel some type of way. You start to have these sick thoughts in your mind based on who you think you is. But the question is, who do you think you are when you do that? This is the reality of the situation, but this is what I was doing. I'm just keeping it on it out. This is what I was doing. I had to get whooped. There was no getting out of that. I had to go through that. It was impossible to avoid that. That belt was coming. Now I'm sitting there crying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, no, no. Shut your mouth. No, no, no. Think about what you did. Okay, okay. I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, what was I doing? Then I see what I'm doing. Man, I'm an idiot. Why was I doing that? Why? Being ungrateful, being unthankful. That's what I was doing. And you know what? I have to actually put this in. I tried to take this out earlier. I really did. But that verse, I have to put it in here because it's no escaping that. I have to put this in here. It doesn't matter. So I have to put this. Let me see. Because it goes exactly. It literally was what I was doing. I can't. There's no getting out of this. I'm sorry. Who am I saying sorry to? I guess myself. I don't know. But here it is. But look at this. Sirach 20:16. The fool said, I have no friends. I have no thank for all my good deeds. And they that eat my bread speak evil of me. It ain't even my bread. Why don't nobody like me? How come people talk to what? How? It is what it is. What I was doing. I'm not about to sit here and sugarcoat it. Is that being foolish? Is that a foolish mindset? Yes. Why? Because it's unthankful. It's ungrateful for what the Most High has done for you, for the gift that the Most High gave you. That's what that is. It doesn't matter how you look at it. It doesn't matter how you chop it or flip it. That's what that is. Verse 17. How oft and of how many shall he be laughed to scorn? For he knoweth not aright what it is to have. He knoweth not aright what it is to have. But because he don't get what he want to get, according to his own understanding, and it is all one unto him as if he had not. So now you begin to diminish the significance of your own position. You begin to think that you're inferior. You begin to think that you're less than, and you're not. You're in this body where everybody's role and responsibility is actually equal. It doesn't matter. The responsibility has different levels, but equal as in, are they all important? They're all important. That's the point. Every last one of these positions is important. It doesn't matter. But when you sit there and you start getting into that mindset, now you showing yourself to be ungrateful, unthankful, unappreciative. That's what that is. So I tried to sit here. Oh, I don't need to put that in here. No, I had to put this in here because this is what it is. Just what it is. So we're gonna keep going. So whenever a person begins to try to step outside of their lane and they start to compare themselves against a person, it can bring a lot of disastrous things, which was already displayed. I don't need to go back and say what it was. People should know pretty much what happened. So seek not out the things that are too hard for thee, neither seek the things that are above thy strength. Why? Because you're trying to be somebody else. Did you know that if you try to be somebody else, you're always going to be seeking the things that's too hard for you because you literally can't be somebody else? No matter what, that's impossible. So trying to be like somebody else, you will always be seeking something that's too hard for you because it's literally impossible. You are you, so you can't be them. It's impossible. Neither search the things that are above thy strength. You can't do it. Here's the verse 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion have overthrown their judgment. Boom. Why? Lean into your own understanding. Oh, this what you think. Well, I should be able to do that. No, that's what you think. You don't know what you're being groomed to be. You don't know what you're being shaped and formed to be. You don't know the position that you ultimately will be in the latter half. Why the heck are you sitting there trying to be somebody else? You should be just working on what you have according to the ability that you got. Oh, I want to talk like him. Oh, I want to speak like him. Oh, I want to teach like him. Oh, I want to move like him. Oh, I'm going to dress like him. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. Oh, same thing. Sisters do it too. Oh, I want to be like her. I want to look like her. I want to act like her. I want this. I want that. I want this. And I want that. Being covetous, being envious, being all these things. This is what we do. Seeking out stuff that's too hard for us. It's just what it is. It's what I did. I'm still not out the woods for it. I'm not even. I'm not about to sit there and even think for a second. It's no. Because I need to. I need to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So just because I got whooped and I understand what I need to be doing, the application has to be continuous and active. Meaning, okay, now that I understand it, you better keep putting in the work. That don't mean stop putting in the work. You better keep putting in the work. So that goes for anybody. So when it comes to that chastisement and all that stuff, we gonna look at that next week. We're gonna look at that next week because when it comes to that, I'm actively going through this right now. So those teachings is gonna be literally what is happening. That's all I can say about it. So that's it. That's it. That's all I can say. But we have to do what? Stay in our lane. It's a simple thing like it's stay in your lane. Let's go to Galatians. Galatians chapter 5:26. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. Simple as that. Philippians 2 and 3. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory. Okay, you shouldn't desire those spiritual gifts for vainglory. Exactly the point. You shouldn't desire no position for vainglory. You shouldn't desire nothing for nothing. All it should be for is doing the work for the Most High and helping your brothers and sisters. When it comes to this job, when it comes to this work, not how you look. The only thing you should be seeking to do is to be a reflection of the character of Jehovah, showing his true love through sincerity to your brothers and sisters. That's what you should be doing. I got whooped Sunday. I'm still getting whooped. I'm still getting a whooping. Do it feel good? No, it doesn't. But do I need it? Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. But because I got a whooping, do I have hope? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because that whooping lets me know I can still get this right. Because he's giving me the opportunity to get this right. And we should have faith and confidence in Jehovah because his correction straightens us out to do what we actually supposed to do. So we should be grateful for correction, grateful for chastisement, grateful for his discipline. And the weirdest thing I'm gonna say is it might sound weird, but because of that correction, I have confidence in a way that I haven't experienced it because I know he's working with me. It's a whole different ball game. So I genuinely believe change is possible. Why? Because that opportunity and that chance is there to do it. So I'm gonna put a verse in here for anybody that's struggling with anything, an infirmity, a sickness. You have this illness within yourself that you know and you recognize it and you've acknowledged it. There's one verse that I'm gonna run. It's not in the teaching. I'm gonna run to it because it's 100% the truth. It doesn't matter if you have envy, if you envious, if you jealous, you got jealousy. You can overcome that. Why? The flesh can be defeated. Why? Only through Jehovah. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ, through Jehovah, that it which strengtheneth me. It is 100% possible through Jehovah. It is 100% possible through him. Because that chastisement brings you the understanding and that knowledge that you need. We just have to apply that discipline that we receive and make sure we do what we're supposed to be doing. I'm not going to go all up into that because that's next week. That's already sitting there. So that's what we're going to talk about next week. When we receive chastisement, how do you apply it then? Which is something I had to also understand and learn and see what was going on there. So that's extremely important to apply the discipline. Because simply knowing it, okay, you know it, so what are you going to do about it? He gives us the opportunity to choose between life or death. So we have to choose him because he is life. All these things come into play when things go down. So when we look in here, now, back in the teaching, when we make comparisons with one another, envying one another, when we go back to Philippians 2 and 3, when we make, no, let's go to Galatians right there. That's Galatians 5:26 right here. When we make comparisons with one another, envying one another, emulation can kick in. Now we make rivals with others in our own mind, allowing insecurity to take hold. And now we begin competing with somebody else. But it's also idolatry because then we begin to value that thing that somebody else has over Jehovah. Because now we not doing stuff for the reasons we supposed to be doing it. Now we seeking to please self. So now it gets into idolatry. We become focused and driven by vanity at that point. Why? Because we comparing ourselves against somebody else, and now we trying to be somebody we not. That becomes idolatrous when we do these things. Now we sitting there putting our focus on something that don't it don't even make no sense to do that. It makes no sense to do that. We can't do that. We literally can't do that. Why? Because our focus should be on our husband, not on what somebody else is doing. So now that you putting that focus on there, now you starting to all these other things start creeping in. We can't do that. That covetousness brings this idolatry, this idolatrous type mindset. Now we want this, we want that. We putting value on vanity. How can you even do that? That's actually stupid. So the issue is this. Instead of working on our own personal weaknesses, we end up looking around and attempting to replicate the success of others rather than working with what we've been given and working on ourselves. We can poison ourselves through envy, and that envy can then move to jealousy towards another. Through comparing ourselves against other people and not seeking to reflect this word, we operate according to fate by chasing something we see another person doing or what another person has. Not because we seek to be better for ourselves, but because we think we can do better than them or attempt to be something that we're not. This is the problem. So, like I said, I literally, when I meditated on it, I didn't even realize that this is all that was happening. But I had to see what was going on. It's not cool at all. With covetousness, it's just not cool. So, these are the issues. Through comparing ourselves against other people, we can end up trying to rival others because even if we increase in talents, we can only work on things based on the ability that we have. We can never do something exactly like someone else. So we need to take the things that we learn and apply it to ourselves. And when we take these things and we apply it to ourselves, it's always going to be unique to who we are. But if we try to be like someone, we are now attempting to replace them and have something that belongs to them. It's actually impossible to do that. Envy can be brought in the moment we start comparing ourselves against others, having an ungrateful mindset. Instead of seeking help and asking brothers and sisters how they do certain things with the intent for us to better ourselves, we then begin to compete with others or rival others as if we need to prove our own worth. And this is salt for the flesh. Instead of seeking to get right with Jehovah, instead, one chooses to compare themselves against another, seeking to be superior to others. Envy bringing in this emulation. This is the problem. We can see an example of this in the law in Numbers. 16, 1 through 11. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. So people knew who these people was. They knew who they was. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron and said unto them, ye take too much upon you, seeing all the... Whoa. Pause. Ye take too much upon you. It's what they saying to them. There is a vain opinion right there. Automatically. It's a vain opinion. Because who are they to tell Moses and Aaron that they take too much upon them? Who are they to do that? Hey, hand. Hey, hand. You can't do that. Hand, you can't do that. Nah, toe, you can't do that. Toe, you cannot support the body the way you doing it. Toe, you do not have that ability to do that. You doing too much, toe. Ankle, you ain't supporting how you... Hey, you can't support like that, ankle. Ankle, you doing too much. This is how crazy this gets. This is how crazy it gets. They gonna say, you take too much upon you. Envy. Because then we look at somebody else and we say what? Who do they think they are? Who does he think he is? Oh, he doing too much. Why is he doing all that? That's silly. That's silly. Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Spirit of God is among them. And here come an accusation. Wherefore then lift up yourselves above the congregation and the Spirit of God. What are y'all doing? What y'all doing? And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. And he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow the Spirit of God will show who are his, and who is holy, who separated, and will cause him to come near unto him. And it says, even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take you censors, Korah and all his company. So what's that censor doing? Yeah, it's your true desires. It's that desire container. So it's showing what you really trying to get into. What's going on, which holds the hot coals of what really burning in your heart, good or bad, good or bad. So now it's gonna be shown. This dude, take you censors, Korah and all his company. All right, we gonna see what y'all really about. It's clear, and put fire therein, and put incense in them, in the presence of the Spirit of God tomorrow. And it shall be that whom the Spirit of God doeth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. Why? Cause Moses and Aaron was appointed to be in that position, not by men. The gifts that they had wasn't given by no men. So why is Korah and all his company seeking these types of things? Why is this happening? We see it clear as day. They think they can do this, not recognizing that elevation in the body, that has nothing to do with people. Jehovah is the one who knows what's going on. He is the one that's able to give these gifts. He is the one that's able to bring somebody up. So why are they worried about what Moses and Aaron is doing? And Moses said unto Korah, "Hear, I pray you, ye sons of Levi." And here we see how Korah and them was being ungrateful and unthankful. Seemeth it but a small thing unto you that the God of Israel have separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself to do the service of the tabernacle of the Spirit of God, and to stand before the congregation and minister unto them? Is that a small thing to you? Is that not important to you? Are you going to diminish the responsibility that you have? Do y'all not realize that what you do is important? What y'all doing is important. What y'all do matter. Is it a small thing unto you? And he hath brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren the sons of Levi with thee, and seek ye the priesthood also. What you doing? So wait, you doing all this? You want to do it? What you want to? What? For which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against you, gathered against the Spirit of God. Why do y'all want the priesthood? What makes you think you can do that? What makes you think you? Aaron is in the position he in for a reason. What are y'all doing? And what is Aaron that you murmur against him? So when we do these things against our brothers and sisters, we really showing that we have a problem with Jehovah. Do we all understand what's happening in this teaching? This is serious. I'm glad I got a whooping. I'm being 100,000 because this right here, this should not make anybody comfortable because this is extremely serious. So we get this. This is not what Korah and them is really sitting here doing. That is not cool at all. It's not. So we can see that. They accusing others are trying to lift themselves up when they the ones trying to lift themselves up. That's projecting onto somebody else. You trying to project what you projecting what's in your heart onto somebody else. They doing this, they doing that. You accusing somebody, but you the one you doing the very thing you accusing them of doing. That's hypocrisy. How are you gonna sit there and accuse somebody of doing something and you do and that and you're literally doing that, and they not even doing that, you doing that? They think they pulling a mo out of somebody. Moses and Aaron wasn't doing nothing wrong. They got a boy. They got something in that eye. But was I walking around with that thing in my eye? You bet it. I was walking around with that thing in my eye, man. Till I got popped. What you doing? That thing fell off that eye. It's what it is. So we understand that Moses had a talent and Aaron had a talent that nobody else could claim. He was, and this is what they were sitting here. They were sitting here looking at flesh, not realizing that it go back to what was going on in First Corinthians. The body all come together, but we understand that it's not people that's doing stuff. Same thing that we're consistently told. We didn't come across Elder Johnson by accident. We was brought here. We was led here. It's not to where we need to be looking at flesh at all. We shouldn't be doing that literally at any point. We have to recognize spirit and understand what's going on at all times. But whenever we get beside ourselves and start being stupid, then we can end up getting ourselves into some real trouble. So we're gonna start winding it down. I don't have that much left because it's clear. I was gonna read a lot of this, but the point is really clear. Um, so these men, Korah and them, was leaning on their own vain opinion and are gathered together against Jehovah. Is literally what's happening. Jehovah knows who to put in certain positions to get his work done. And it is of no man's authority in any capacity to believe they have a say-so in that. That don't work like that. So when we do these vain comparisons of flesh, we end up losing sight of what is actually important, and we end up stepping outside of our own lane. And as we know, when you read the rest of this chapter, those men held to that and paid the price for their actions, showing how detrimental it is doing these vain comparisons and the effects that they have. So we're going to see another example of the poisons of comparisons. In the same book, we go into Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. And Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses. Here it go. Because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married. For he had married an Ethiopian woman. And they said, have the Spirit of God indeed spoken only by Moses? And here they go. Hath he not spoken also by us? And the Spirit of God heard it. They think they got something over on Moses based on something that don't make no sense at all. Literally don't make no sense at all what they doing. Based on something that, why are they even looking at it? Numbers 12, 1 and 2. Why are they doing this? But do we do the same thing? These are the problems that we end up having. Why? Because it's no different than questioning the authority of Jehovah. Is what we end up doing. Not recognizing what's happening. Not understanding what is going on. Not seeing the purpose. So we see this. Miriam and Aaron tried to compare themselves to Moses because they thought they had something on him, believing that they had something above him based on who he was married to. We see the foolishness of doing these sorts of things rather than staying in your own lane. This brings about serious issues because if we start making these comparisons and envy begins to build up, then we start showing we're jealous of somebody else through our own actions. Then we start doing things against others in the body. But when we do that, that means we're actually going against the body, period. So if you're against the body, you're against Jehovah. That is the point of this whole thing I'm saying. When you're against the body, you're really against Jehovah. When you're against the body, you're against Jehovah. When you try to hurt the body, you think you ain't finna do that. Why? Because we shouldn't be doing things against his people. We shouldn't be doing none of these things. We see the dangers of this poison of comparison. When we sit there and become covetous and envious of other people, and emulation starts to kick in, we could put ourselves in extremely dangerous situations. So we can see the consequences for this behavior. In verse 9, and the anger of the Spirit of God was kindled against them. Verse 10, be downwards. And remember, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and remember, she was leprous. It's not a game. And Aaron said unto Moses, alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us, wherein we have done foolishly, and wherein we have sinned. But did you see Miriam say anything? Aaron saying it. Aaron recognizing it, but did Miriam say anything? You know, man, you don't see Miriam saying nothing. Aaron is acknowledging this. Hey, I'm tripping. Oh, I'm tripping. Yeah, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I've done foolishly. I'm tripping. You don't see Miriam saying nothing. So it becomes a thing really quickly how dangerous all this is. Because if we don't acknowledge what we're doing, we can be in an extremely detrimental situation. If we don't recognize what we're doing, if we don't recognize it, okay, dude, this is not a game. So Aaron, we see, was speaking up for what happened, but we don't see where Miriam ever acknowledged her iniquity. We don't see where Miriam acknowledged this. When you look, all you see is, and Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days. That's what you see. And Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days. 7 means completion. And the people journeyed not again until Miriam was brought in again. So we see the spiritual condition of Miriam. I say, just because somebody's here physically means nothing. Just because somebody's physically with us, that doesn't mean anything. It's the works that we see on what's happening. So this is a serious thing. So I don't really have much more to say at that point on how serious this is. So yeah. Um so then it becomes a thing to where I'm gonna put a couple more verses here because it's a lot, but I'm not gonna take up too much time because the point has already been made. I'm pretty sure everybody understands the teaching. So we're only gonna hit 7 more verses because here's a question: if we're willing to do this and compare ourselves to others, showing this envy, because we see envy was right here with Miriam and them. They think they got something over on Moses, they gonna speak. Why? Because they looking at themselves, they looking at flesh. They not realizing Jehovah's power. None of that. And they gonna say these things that make no sense. And then we see the consequences of this here. That's all we looking at. Nothing more, nothing less. We see what they did, we see the consequences. So if we're willing to do this against our brothers and sisters, if we're willing to do this against the body, if we're willing to do these things, one question comes into play. If you died and was let into the kingdom, what would stop you from making comparisons against Jehovah? This automatically becomes the question. Isaiah 40 and 18 is a question. that needs to be answered. To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare unto him? Who you gonna liken God to now? Who 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 are you gonna liken God to now? You gonna compare? You gonna sit here and compare yourself against people? You gonna try to rival yourself against people? You gonna sit here and think that you got this authority to do these types of things? To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare unto him? What's going on now? So the sacrifice that Jehovah has done, are we going to be thankful? Are we going to be unthankful for him and what he's done and what he's actually given? Will we be ungrateful even on that? We want to be exalted. We want to be in these positions. We want to sit here and think we better than people. We want to do these things. We want to do these things. Are we going to sit there and compare ourselves against others as if we created those people? If we was allowed into the kingdom, what would stop you from comparing yourself against God? Will we compare him to something or to someone else? Would we even covet something that we think is better than God, as Adam did? Are we going to do that? These are the questions we have to actually be willing to answer. Because if we continue to do that, what is going to stop that? Genesis chapter 3, verses 1 through 6. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Spirit of God had made. And he said unto the woman, unto this spirit, Yea, have God said, Ye shall not learn of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may learn of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the work of the elder which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For God doeth know that in the day ye learn thereof, then your eyes shall be open. And there goes that poison. And ye shall be as compared to gods. They like that comparison. Knowing good and evil. And when the Spirit saw that the tree, that elder, was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the understandings, and the elder to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, the work thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did learn. So we see this comparison right here. When we sit here, we want to go our own way. We want to sit here and try to put ourselves above people. We want to sit here and think in our own hearts. These types of things is showing us a serious problem that we need to get rid of. So if we've been given the privilege of seeing it and understanding what it is, we need to get rid of it. And can you get rid of it? Yes. It's your choice on what you do from that point. I'll say it again. I'm glad I got a whooping. I am glad I got a whooping. It is possible to get rid of this trash that we picked up. So we need to understand when we get disciplined and chastised how to apply that and move forward in that wisdom. So that will be discussed next week. And we see the poison of comparisons. So it's clear as day on what's happening. This is the last verse I'm about to hit. Isaiah 40 and 25. To whom then will you liken me? Where shall I be equal? Saith the Holy One. You can't compare him to nobody. You definitely can't think you equal to the Most High in no type of way. He made us. All his creation, we should be learning from it. And our brothers and sisters, he also created. So it ain't for us to dictate and determine and try to modify or change what he made. Because what he made it for the reason and the intent in which he made it. He made it with a purpose. So who are we to sit there and try to modify his creation? Why would we modify ourselves by trying to be somebody that we're not? And why would we try to modify our brother or sister by trying to diminish their own gifts that they've been given? All we should be doing is helping the body, encouraging one another, and growing in unison and unity. Because when we're against the body, we're showing we're really being against Jehovah in this opposition, in this contrary manner that we shouldn't be doing. It's not a game. It's not nothing cool. It's not nothing that we should be playing with. So with this being said, this teaching is concluded. So I hope somebody gains something from this teaching and realizes and understands the danger of comparing yourself against others and trying to put yourself on pedestals and platforms and doing these types of things. My brothers and sisters, this has been Deacon Kahleial. I thank you all for coming out. Y'all take care and much love. Shalom.